Hey guys, welcome to of course, and today we're covering the Francesco Caracciolo, the Tier 6 Italian battleship, available early access at the minute. And yeah, let's just dive right in. So, first upgrade, module, recommend secondary batteries. Aiming systems will help you out with your little bit of dispersion, but honestly, secondary batteries are probably more helpful for you in the long run, just overall. Steering gears or propulsion, both are viable. I would go with where you feel comfortable with. Propulsion is usually the best. In terms of upgrades first, targeting system for a bit more range, you definitely need it. It definitely suffers from range issues. Hull upgrade, and then probably get the engine last because the engine's not too big a deal. Something to take a look at. This thing has a pretty low armor piercing alpha. It has the rolling smoke, exhaust smoke. It has 6 heals if you have master mechanic, but they don't heal for that much, so just be aware of that. And of course, you don't have a plane, so you have secondary mode. Now, discussing the armour, this is a complicated ship in terms of armour-wise, so let's try and get what we can done. Icebreaker in the front, not really much in the back, so you will be more facing the enemy as much as you can. Your 25mm bow and stern is a little bit better. It's a little bit worse than the GK's bow, because the GK's bow has a 25 top part, but your bow is much more easily pennable. The biggest issue with this boat is shell catchers, and I'm going to say bits where the shell can find its way snook it into the vital parts of your ship. If you take a look at the superstructure, it's very segmented in levels, which means the shells can dive in and find their way into a really thick armor part, resulting in potentially citadels or penetrations. Taking off the superstructure hit, which is basically nothing, it's all overmatchable, you can get some seriously nasty shell hits. You've got segments at the top, you've segments middle there, and again, remember that 25mm top is completely overmatchable as well, so you can almost act like it's not with there, even though it does reduce the penetration of the shell when it enters that part of the ship. So yeah, you're really fragile if they aim slightly above your gun turrets, just on the cusp of your gun turrets, where the barbette of the second turret is. They can get some really nasty shots in. So if your opponent doesn't know where to hit battleships that are angled, you should be fine. But if they do, prepare to eat consistent pens, because your armor scheme is very, very susceptible to eating meaty pens all the time. Potentially even citadels as well. That's your citadel, by the way. They can plunge into that citadel quite comfortably using the shell catchers as help there. If you're seeing here, just look at the cusp of this armor here. You see that the casemate and everything provides layers where your enemy shells can land. So really be careful in the Caracciolo. You need to be very careful about them raking your upper deck and just plunging into the high penetration parts of your ship, where they'll have more than enough armor to arm and potentially even enter your citadel. So yeah, anything with 15-inch guns and above can easily do this, and even guns with a lower caliber that can also cause you some serious grief. Side armor, pretty good, pretty bonkersly good. Very well, you'll be fine if someone hits your belt. You'll have no problems there. As I said, your icebreaker is really high up, so that's really good. It's probably like the third best icebreaker. You've got like the Synop, you've got Scharnhorst, Gneisenau. You've got very comfortable icebreakers, and this is like on the verge of like a GK on terms of icebreakers. Probably a little bit worse than the Scharnhorst, but only because the Scharnhorst got such a small bow profile. So yeah, very squishy because of these shell catchers that you can see. Just be aware of that. So if your enemy knows about it, crap. If your enemy doesn't, hey. Paolo Ravel is what I'd recommend. For this video, by the way, I did use my arena build, which is featuring Brawler, but I think not one, for instance, is a bit of a safer bet. Porcupine is a very good option here. Firefighter. And I actually went for probably Meticulous. I'd probably recommend it over Master Mechanic, because 6 heals is great and it gives you a little more juice for the bang for the buck, but I think killing your target is quite funny. Also, running with scissors is not a bad idea. I've been slating on this stuff quite a while. I did run it in Arena, and I did run it in this actual game. So this was with Brawler, and it had running with scissors, but it wasn't that bad. 15% buff to your AP is no joke. In terms of inspirations, Franz von Hipper is a must. I think he's very good, and I went with Haruna if you have her, but again, free to play options. Also going to recommend AL Belfast. This brings your smoke firing penalty down quite significantly. It's originally 13.1 and now it takes it down to 11 kilometers. That's a 2 kilometer gain. That's pretty sizable, especially when you need to go dark and you want to get an extra shot off. For free inspirations, completely free complete commanders, Hans Geller, reload of secondary battery guns, not bad, and Auto Celiax is probably the stronger, more I'd recommend. Auto Celiax buffing your AP shell damage does help out quite a bit. You know, you want your shells to count and you want them to hit much harder, so that's very useful in a brawl. So you certainly got options. Perhaps the most interesting thing about the Francesco is its secondaries. With my build, and I've got very high level secondary commanders, 7.1, I'm using the Probabilistica skill 3.6 second reload for the 152s and 2.6 or 2.7 for the 90mm guns. Again, these are SAP secondaries. Basically think of it as improved AP penetration, and it's just kind of like splash damage AP. There's a lot more down to it when it comes to SAP, but we'll get more down to that realistically when we have main battery SAP into the game. So this build, as I said before, is a little bit less optimized. This is using Brawler, so this will be very interesting. We actually get ourselves into a failed division. We didn't even realize. I loaded the game up and I completely didn't realize that my teammate went for a tier 7. Luckily, there's just one Alaska, so we're not too suffering too hard. But yeah, we're down tier by quite a significant margin here, so that's unfortunate. But hey, that's just how things go sometimes. Teammates into the Maggie. Obviously, I do love the Maggie. It's a wonderful ship. We just need to be careful and see what happens, really. Now, because of our build, we're using Brawler. I mean, it can work. Brawler can work. And this game was with me using Brawler, so maybe this is the better build. But I do think not rolling Brawler gives you a bit more options. It does take down your reload, though, so there's always that option again. You really don't have much range of the Italians. You kind of want to be brawling, but you need to be careful. Yeah, 14.2 of Brawler is really quite abysmal range for a battleship. You definitely want to get close. These guns are really not accurate. Even if you build with Lotorio, it can be much more tolerable if you're building with Lotorio, but I do think Paolo di Ravel is the better option for this particular boat. Particularly if you're wanting, like, I could take advantage of that smoke, and assuming the DD was spot for me, I could fire from complete stealth because my smoke firing penalty has been reduced to 11 kilometers. I'm not running that on this build though. I believe it's a full secondary build, so I don't have that flexibility because 13 kilometers is quite some distance. I understand these are 15-inch guns, and that's probably why, but still. So we're going to use Silent to push in here. With most brawling battleships, islands are your friends, and you need to have that capacity to use them. So yeah, we're just going to get close as we can without being spotted, because as you mentioned before, if we're just bow tanking in this boat, the shells can just straight up rake your superstructure and into your citadel, into your casemate. Not necessarily citadel hits, but really nasty penetrations. Fortunately, you need to be angled as much as you can, and you'll get really good results here. A little bit of HE spam here, but it shouldn't do too much to us. We'll still take some significant damage from HE spam. Our deck armor is not the best, but it is relatively tanky in some places, so you'll get some pains and some shatters. It will not be very consistent, but yeah, unfortunately it does set a fire at least like third salvo. That's pretty upsetting, but it does look like some sort of HE spammer of some sort. Paolo looked like he's going for the straight up YOLO here. I'm going to pop my smoke. It was really before just to get rid of the HE spamming here. You really want to use your smokes early as possible in this game. You've got a long cooldown for these smokes, and you've got 3 of them. It may seem like a waste of smoke, but I think it's a good idea to have the smoke and use it just to minimize the damage we take. We're not going to burn it in single fire because we don't know what this Paolo is going to do here. I don't mind taking a single fire hit for the sake of not flooding to death, because I know this is the arena build and I don't have Wilter build, so even though I'm next to teammates here, I need to be careful about it. So we see the Paolo, we pop up our secondary booster, and these secondaries are no joke at ripping DDs apart. This is a Paolo, so it's a pretty darn tanky DD, and we should take him out here. Oh no, we missed it there, the shots here, and Massachusetts actually steals that kill there, but hey, I don't really care as long as he's dead. That's really what matters, and I'm actually glad he helped out. Fletcher unfortunately was kind of YOLOing the Paolo, and that was just not exactly ideal. Unfortunate for him, he does eat a torpedo, and these Paolo torpedoes are really hard. As you saw, pretty much 15k done to that. I don't think we really shot much anything else really, so let's just say about 13k done to that destroyer. Pretty sizable amount. Not really much of it was done with the main guns. A lot of secondary hits really kicked in the damage there, and yeah. Now, at the minute, we need to try and get back into cover here because Richelieu, it does not take prisoners. And Roma, again, is very scary. 15-inch guns, this bow doesn't like to take too much damage at all. You want to hold your health until you get closer, where the point is you can damage the health. You can risk losing the health in order to get that killing blow on the people, get the secondaries going, and get that finale shot that you need. Unfortunately, there is an Iowa here, and that is a bit of a problem. We did our best to angle, and he did hit our belt, so we minimised much as damage that he could take. But yeah, our teammates are kind of dwindling here, and unfortunately, it's just, I don't know, it seems to be the case. People seem to keep coming around and just following me about here, and you really don't want that in a game. You really want to spread yourselves out and develop crossfires. If you all huddle up in one spot, there really isn't much you can do, and it does cause some problems, and you really are just sitting duck. And it seems to be the case. Our team doesn't want to spread out. I want to vacate this area here, but if you get broadside in this thing, you're pretty much dead. It's very similar to the Russian-esque brawling sort of playstyle that has been highlighted by their line. So you need to be careful about who you get broadside to, even for a slight moment. It's not like the Germans that have the turtleback, so they can take a hit broadside if they really need to. See the top quality accuracy of the guns. They're not known for its accuracy. You can build into it, but even then, they're not the best. Decent penetration though. The Italian guns have got pretty nice pen. I've noticed buffing the pen does help out a lot more though I don't really, again, maybe I don't necessarily need it, especially when you're playing these boats to their strengths, which means you need to get close. So yeah, it looks like this Richelieu's chancing it, but he's not going the full. He's going like 90% of the way, but not the full way. Is that another Richelieu? That is another Richelieu, my goodness, yeah. Two Richelieus there just coming in. That other Richelieu's going for it here. Let's see if we can kind of break his guns. That's the goal here. They're supposed to be good at that, but we didn't really get much done. Got decent 3 pens though, and our secondaries are just starting to work. And if you guys just pay close attention to what the secondary hits are doing, they're actually getting not bad work here done. Considering their secondary damage here, they're about 600 to 1,000 plus a hit, and that's happening basically every 3 seconds roughly. Every 3 to 4 seconds you're getting 1,000 damage per hit, and that's certainly adding up. And obviously main guns to complement that, it's quite nice. And unlike big battleship guns, these secondaries are very small caliber, so they need to arc their shells quite a bit, which means they can shoot over islands where the main guns can't. So if we're just staying here, we can kind of just farm them here. And these are no small numbers then, considering how frequently they fire is pretty significant. Roma looks like he wants to chance it here. Fire broadside here, we got a decent hit there. 16k because of our running with scissors here. It is active. Excuse me. And we're just raking up the secondary hits. We're doing really good work here. Pop iron heel, staying as angled as we can. We really want him to shoot the belt. We don't want him to shoot the superstructure. Massa just deletes the Roma. That's very good news for us. We don't want to push these Richelieus. Again, it could really hurt us. We just got a cold tight where we are, unfortunately. I'd love to do more, but it doesn't look like we're able to. Richelieu feels brave enough. He looks like he's going to go for it here. Try and get our shot up here. Realistically, it's a Richelieu, and again, the just ridiculously stupid armor scheme. I'm going to highlight that, but there we go. And we don't really get the result we wanted here. The turtleback of the Richelieu is pretty sizable, and I believe we can overmatch his. We can actually penetrate his bow with our secondaries, so we're getting some really nasty hits on him. He's pretty confident here. He's even given us broadside a second time, so hopefully we can just straight up punish this. There we go. And yeah, we're just raking up the secondary hits here. That was 51 off that guy there. Alaska's coming into play now, trying to angle the best we can. We basically need to go about one for Alaska because Alaska pen angles are ridiculously good. So we need to just try and get what we can here. We don't want to push out like this Iowa. This is not what we want to do here. We have to just try and whittle them down. At the minute, they're taking more damage than we are. So that's all we need to get done. We need to get that job done. Let's try and rake the superstructure of the Alaska, but these guns are certainly accurate. This is just not the case. They're not accurate at all. The secondaries are more accurate right now, and they're not very accurate at the minute. But yeah, staying here and just literally farming them for secondaries is not bad. You can just watch the damage pick up. Not all the secondaries are actually going to hit their target, obviously. And not every target hit is going to yield damage. But when they do, that's 1,000 a pop, and there's quite a lot of secondaries, and they're quite fast reload, relatively, considering the damage they do. So we're just happy here farming them, and that's something you can do. These secondaries got good arcing as well, so basically the longer you're in this sustained fight, you can really pick up the damage. And our guns haven't been the best performance. Our main battery guns this particular match is not being really good, but our secondaries have been really raking the damage in, and we just picked up high caliber from our secondaries. Really, secondary consumable active. Turn it on, thank you, please. We need this. And yeah, we're just gonna do what we can to farm. Richelieu's popping in here. Richelieu could do 30k to our angled self here. Akatsuki's coming in here. That's a really risky target. I really want to get rid of him with our secondaries, but we don't have manual secondary targeting. It's a bit of a problem. Because he's popped in, we can't risk... There we go, Richelieu hurts there. We can't risk, giving too much broadside and lining up torpedoes, so we're going to use island cover here. Unfortunately, that means we're not going to be able to finish off the Richelieu, at least not right now, and we'd be very careful about that. Akat is potentially popped. So that's one set of torps. He's got 3 sets of torps, the Akatsuki. And just looks like one. Now, we didn't see this one. We should have looked at this Brandenburg. Fortunately, it was a Brandenburg. It obviously is only 305s. The pen isn't as good as obviously some real battleship caliber guns. We did get away with that, but that was risky here. The threat of the DD did distract us there, and there's a little bit of a misplay there. We should have held a stronger angle against that Brandenburg. We probably wouldn't take in basically any damage, assuming he hit our belt, and that is the biggest thing. We had to assume that he hits our belt. Now, the Akat is here, potentially still launching torps. We need to be very careful at where they are. We have no choice but to retreat, and you look at the teams here, we're really doing quite poorly here. There's basically only 2 of us left, and the other guy is right next to me. We do what we can here. We just took out the Akat here with the main battery gun Savo and the secondary just to finish it off. We're going to pop our Relix smoke just to hope that the Richelieu doesn't finish his off, but the chances of that is pretty high that he's just straight up going to kill us here. We just need some time here to try and reconsider our avenues here. I was popping in. Richelieu's taking a shot here. Now he's spotted, but we aren't, so we shouldn't have taken that shot. Risky, but I think at this point it doesn't really matter. We're on 2k health. Might as well take our shots while we still can. Yeah. And I would just take us out before we have a chance to repair our guns and try and go for that final ram / final broadside shot in the Iowa. And yeah, unfortunate, but to be honest, we nearly got to 300 secondary hits. And, considering we only had 50 something main battery hits, 178 with high caliber Confederate and a close quarters expert, it's not bad. So, yeah, the secondaries, if you give them the chance to perform, they will do the work. And my god, that's a tier 7. So we're fighting tier 7, the legendary boats here in this situation. So just imagine you're fighting same tier boats or even tier 5s. It's going to be a pretty spicy experience for you. So yeah, 1.729 on a loss. Confederate high caliber and nearly 300 secondary hits in the Caracciolo. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, please give it a like, subscribe for more, and let me know your thoughts on the Caracciolo. Hope you had a wonderful day, and I'll catch you next time, guys. Bye for now.